And welcome back to the channel. What is going on, y'all? Welcome in on a Sunday. We are on one of my all-time favorite maps from FS17. No Creek Farms, a large H mappings conversion to FS22. Big shout out to large H. This is by far and away one of my favorite maps. I know there's a ton of people out there who love this map and played it a bunch as it progressed from 17 to 19 to now in 2022. Happy to have this back. So, what are we talking about today while we are mowing, getting ready to make some freaking feed so we can get cattle? This one just happens to be about the Lions. As you woke up bright and early on a 80-degree Saturday morning, at least I hope it was for you guys, you heard per sportsbetting.ag that at plus 400 the Detroit Lions are the betting favorite to land Washington's star, Chase Young. Now, there is some concern with this move, and rightfully so. We're going to get into that because we've got plenty to mow, don't you worry. But the Lions are the plus 400 betting favorite right now. And so, there is one thing that I've always talked about with this team, and really any of my teams, is that these teams do have a due diligence to their fan base to at least try. And what I mean by that is pick up the phone. You have the Seattle Seahawks, who are at plus 500, the Bears and the Giants at plus 600, and the Texans and the Saints at plus 700 per betonline.ag. In a competitive landscape where numerous teams are vying for Young's services, let me stop while I read this real quick, are vying for Young's services, the Lions have emerged as frontrunners, boosting a favorable position to secure his talent. While the Seahawks, Bears, Giants, Texans are also in the mix. The Lions' chances stood out with their strong appeal and potential partnership between Young and Hutchinson. Now, there is going to be a video coming out this week of who is a part of the Lions core. And we're going to talk about that. And I am going to add Chase Young into the mix. Are we really going to struggle again? No? Okay, we're good. Bottom line, Lions could make a bold statement. Landing Young would certainly be a bold move for the Lions as they head into the 2023 season. The question is, what would the Lions have to give up in terms of draft capital to get a deal done with the Commanders? Only time will tell if the Lions make a move to acquire Young. So here's the deal. There has been a ton of different ideals floated out there. And that's fine. That's what we like to do. My thing being is there is always one thing that I ask of my teams. And you should too. Is try. Pick up the phone and make the call. It's that easy. Pick up the phone and make the call. The partnership between Aiden Hutchinson, who many of us like, including myself, and Chase Young. Boy, that seems pretty damn sexy, don't it? Chase on one side, Houston in the middle, Aiden on the other, Campbell in the backfield. It sure sounds like, to me, that would be the way to go. Now, as we've learned from our GM, Brad Holmes, in a sense, he doesn't think that there's that much of a problem. And that's okay. But I fully expect that with having, I believe it's 23 and some change in cap space, I would like to believe that Brad Holmes, being the shrewd mover that he is, has one more deal up his sleeve. You get a former number 2 pick plus Aiden, who is the number 2 pick from last year, or not from last year, the year before, excuse me. I think it sets up your defense to not only have a huge season, but on top of that, I think it would settle a lot of fans' grievances to an extent, because the narrative coming out of the 2023 NFL draft was he didn't address the defensive line. Now let me be fair and tell you, no, that's not the case, because he did. He drafted Broderick Martin. Now, Broderick Martin is not an edge rusher. As much as we would like to see it happen, it does mean that we would have to get rid of Julian Okwara in a 3rd round pick, possibly a 2nd. And I'm fine with that, because it sets up my defense for the next couple years. I've talked about this before the window is now for this team. You have Delvin Cook out of Minnesota, Adam Thielen out of Minnesota. You have a young team in the Bears. Now, the Bears are going to be pesky, don't get me wrong. But again, we know that Justin can run. But the other point is that if I have an edge duo, one of them is getting to the QB. And the quicker I can get my offense back out on the field, the quicker I'm going to have a chance to win a game. On top of that, you do have Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. And I'm going to be the one saying it because I have been the one saying it. Guys, you have major storylines heading into this season. I think for the most part, to an extent, we know without a doubt Brad Holmes is your GM of your Detroit Lions, America's team. We are going to find out, even though I have already said it, but we are going to find out if Jared Goff is the guy. I believe he is. And I know there's some that share that opinion. I know there's some that disagree with that opinion. On top of that, we are going to find out if the Dan Campbell effect is going to hit this team even harder. And what I mean by that is that we're going to find out if Dan Campbell's the guy. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out on the table right now and tell you, I do think he's the head coach. I do. These guys didn't lay down like most Lions teams would. These guys fought for this coach. They understand his message. And from a lot of people that I have talked to in and out of that locker room, there are people who love and respect Dan Campbell, not just as a former player, but as a head coach in this league. Now, I'll be straight up with you. Yeah, the press conference was silly, but at the same time, that's what Dan Campbell's about. The other thing is that, look, man, I think adding Chase Young, I think would settle a lot of the uncomfortableness that some people have of not addressing the D-line. And I do think that with the amount of money in cap space, I do think Brad Holmes is shrewd. And so all I need to know straight up is would you be willing to take this on? Now, the concern is Chase Young's injury. And look, it's very, very valid. Now, there are other names out there. Yannick Ngakoue, there are plenty of other names out there. But let's focus on Chase Young for right now. Would you be willing to do it? And I gotta be honest with you, I would be. You know, you're on the season opener. The league has bought into you. And Dan Campbell said it best. They are betting on that the Lions are not going to go into KC and get their beat. And I'm going to give this team a chance. And the thing is I mean, you know, I talked about it in the last video. This town is so unique in the fact of you have fan bases across the board who have not seen teams win and win championships. And yet they still believe in their teams. Detroit's a special place. And I think adding Chase Young, I think brings this team to another level. And I think it gets them where they need to go. I've been saying it for months. I believe this team is going to win a division and host a home playoff game. And I believe that. Believe that in my heart of hearts. They are winning this division. They are going to have a home playoff game. And man, it's going to be fun times. And I do think this team is going to surprise us. I do. I think the new secondary, all of that. But the question comes down to, are you willing to do it? And is Brad Holmes shrewd enough to make it happen? With that, thank y'all for watching. And let me know what you guys think. I gotta hear from y'all. Let's go.